In 2016, Ed Carpenter Racing's number 20 car had a poor start to the season when it was decided that the team did not have enough sponsorship to run it full-time. Instead, it would just run the oval races with owner Ed Carpenter driving.
Joseph Newgarden has had a couple of incidents, one on track, and we have a yellow.
And the yellow has come out.
Teammate.
Oh, right on the front stretch. And this is terrible for Hunter Ray.
Gets screwed again.
That's Ed Carpenter that's into the wall. And the hands go up in the air.
What happened here was that Ed had a move on Will Power and got chopped in turn 3.
I had a good run on him, went under, and then when I didn't get it, I just pushed up into the marbles and couldn't save it.
Yeah, it sounds like listening to Ed's radio. He had a move, he went underneath, he didn't get in there, and then he crossed the wake of the other car, got up in the gray, and it took off into the wall. So look, the cars make so much turbulence.
Very good. It's just, everybody's blocking, it's hard to pass.
So we see he makes a move down the inside. He's not in far enough. Will turns in. He gets in that wake, slides up into the gray.
Now Rahal gets below him, and at this point, Carpenter's pushed up higher into that gray, and when the tires get dirty this late in the race, there's so much stuff, and watch this, he just cannot turn anymore.
Hard contact on the right front.
First and only caution of the day still out here for the problems for Ryan Hunter-Reay after the engine let go. Coming out of turn 2, the Iowa Corn 300, and the pace has been absolutely torrid, set by Joseph Newgarden, but a problem for his teammate and team owner, Ed Carpenter.
I don't really think they know what's going on there. Not really in any big urgency. Got the starter back in.
Came to pit road with the rest of the group. Jan?
It's a gearbox related problem. He said on the radio, I cannot get any gears except for neutral.
As soon as I let the clutch out, it's grinding gears and kicking back to neutral.
Well, there you hear it right from Ed himself.
Yeah, that's not going to get you anywhere. So the car seemed fine when he came in, but they did the pit stop, and now a problem once he tries to launch. Now it's Ed Carpenter is slow.
Not good for Ed Carpenter. He's just had such a poor run this year.
Started losing revs and then just tied up. I mean, it felt like it was seizing.
That would be the engine he's referring to. He had an issue at Indianapolis, I believe, in the powertrain. Things didn't go too well at Texas either. Let's see if we see any smoke or anything. Yep, little puff. And
when you're coming up behind him and you see that telltale smoke, that's not what you want to see, because that means there's fluid.
Where there's smoke, there's oil.
That's exactly right. Carpenter makes it to the pit lane, and that is good. You've got to be a little bit concerned about the racetrack, although he immediately moved offline, got down to the apron, and got to the pit end. It's down on the inside, that inside lane, and that is good news for the guys out on the racetrack. Joseph Newgarden, though, charging forward. He's fourth in that green number 21 Fuzzy's entry, the car right behind Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And Ed is furious, Rob. He's had the worst luck this year.
Well, I just think, you know, you look at Joseph. Joseph just taken over that team in the last 2 years. He's been the guy to beat even on the ovals. And Ed was one of the 3 guys to always beat just a couple years ago. So I think that's his frustration, especially when you're only running half the races like he is.
You know, it takes the edge off that Ed is the team owner. So as well as Joseph's doing, I know he's super proud of his Ed Carpenter Racing team and the cars that they put on the track for Joseph Newgarden that have allowed him to get to 4th in the championship battle and be a contender again here today. They are super close coming off of turn 4. Scott Dixon wants that lead lap.
Yeah, the more you do this, oh! Just like I said, the more you start fooling around and racing each other, that's what happens.
Carpenter and Dixon touch. Dixon is into the wall, and there's that Castro Neves that came by and just clipped him.
I thought that might be Gabby Chavez that clipped Dixon. We'll have to see it again, but Scott Dixon, I'm going to say that there was a little bob and weave between those two guys. I'm sure Carpenter didn't appreciate how hard Dixon was racing him.
I would say, I would question that whether that could have been Ed's fault, an avoidable contact penalty.
Second in a big crash.
Like I told you. And who is that? It's Rossi? Is that Rossi?
No, that's Ed. That's Ed Carpenter.
Yep. And that's Max Chilton from behind. Spun, trying to avoid. And Ed Carpenter's chance to win ends up in the fence.
What a tough year it's been for Ed Carpenter. It's good to see him get out under his own power there. And he's furious.
Yep. Rips the radio cord out.
Let's take a look at what happened here. That's Graham Rahal on the low side. Castroneves coming up behind the Fuzzies.
Ed
green
got
and
loose.
gold car.
Yeah, he got loose, stepped up, and
right rear went down.
Nowhere to go.
The right rear for Ed Carpenter, it looks like, went down.
And Elio took pretty good contact. Front and rear for Castroneves.
In 5 races, Carpenter got a best start of 5th at Phoenix, but only a best finish of 18th place at both Iowa and Texas. Midway through the season, the team decided to start running the car on the road courses and street circuits for 2015 Indy Lights champion Spencer Pigot, who had already started 3 races in 2016 with Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing.
That doesn't look good, Rick.
No, Spencer Pigot unfortunately broke a toe link on the back of the car. As a result, they brought the car in, they've shut it off, they're working on it, trying to get him back out, which is too bad because he really had a pretty impressive run here. And now they've got to spend more time in the pits, and we'll call this a training exercise for the rest of the day.
Well, that toe link is a suspension piece that's on the rear part of the car that the mechanics can adjust to set up the suspension on for the driver's preference. And if it is bent, the car sort of dog legs down the road a little bit, and no fun to drive, especially in a bumpy track like this.
Spencer Pigot is stopped at the pit lane exit. Some smoke coming out of the car.
And folks, if you ever wondered how steep turn 1 is here at Sonoma, look at where Spencer's car is and look at the flag marshals. The gradient is immense, that climb up to turn 2.
It's hot today, a lot of issues right now. We're halfway through this race, and it just seems like a lot of mechanical problems have crept into these cars. It's very hot today, over 90 degrees, and look, 3 cars all of a sudden out of the race with mechanical trouble.
Pigot started 7 races in the number 20 car and got a best start of 17th place at Road America. However, he got a best finish of 7th at Mid-Ohio.